up till this week, I've made drinks that I really enjoy drinking and that I want to share with all of you. So it doesn't make much sense that this week, when trying to figure out what I should make, I chose one of my least favorite ingredients ever. The thing that I refuse to drink that I might be allergic to, and that brings back vivid recollections of being sick. Grapefruit. I hate grapefruit. But I love this drink. So this is going to be my grapefruit take on an old-fashioned, and I'm calling it the drink that must not be named. Here's what you're going to need. You can use bourbon, rye, or whiskey if you have it. Or if you want to do the true riff, I would say pick up some mezcal. This is illegal mezcal. It's delicious. I've yet to meet a mezcal that is not delicious. It's a little smoky. It's going to be a fun sort of twist, but always good to stick with what you know. If you want to do bourbon or rye, as is traditional, or regular whiskey, have at it. You're also going to need the dreaded grapefruit, but this time I get to cut it. So you're going to cut the grapefruit into quarters. I do this for you. I recommend a sharper knife than I have. And you're going to take 1/4, hopefully you've washed it, I have, and put it in a container that you can muddle. So this could be the metal base of a cocktail shaker, or it could be a takeout container that's made of plastic. You just want to make sure that it's not going to break. So don't use anything glass. Please, just don't. Now, you're going to need simple syrup, about 1/4 of a shot glass, or 1/4 of an ounce. You can always add more if you want it to be sweeter later, but it's harder to dial it back. If you don't want to make simple syrup and you want to just use sugar, I would say start with 2 teaspoons, and again, you can always work your way up. So now that you have your sugar and grapefruit, you're going to take your hammer of Thor, or whatever you're using to muddle, and you're going to muddle grapefruit into the sugar. Basically, we're making a quick and dirty grapefruit syrup. You could always cook this for hours and reduce it down and blah, 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 but who thinks that far ahead? Also, if you're like me, why would you have that in your fridge? So you want to make sure that you get a lot of the juice out. Doesn't have to be all of it, doesn't have to make a lot of juice. You're just infusing the simple syrup or the sugar with the grapefruit. And then you want to make sure you press down on the rind as well, so you get that oil. Now, we're going to build this in the glass. You can use whatever kind of glass you want. I like a coupe, as you know if you've watched this. And you're going to pour all the liquid that you've strained and mixed into the cup. It's okay if there's some pith in there. If you want to strain it and get the pith out, then by all means, strain to your heart's content. Now, we're going to need the alcohol. I'm going to use mezcal, so we have more of it than the bourbon. And you're going to do 1.5 ounces. You can move it up to 2 if you really desire, but it is just booze in this drink, so just use caution. I like to give it a little swirl just to make sure that everything's mixed together. And now we're going to add the ice. So a traditional old-fashioned, as some of you are maybe screaming at home, does not involve fruit. Traditionally, it is sugar, bitters, a liquor, usually rye, and water, or an ice cube. In this case, we're kind of loosely taking liberties, making the sugar a grapefruit-infused syrup. The rest of it, though, is all going to be there. So we have the ice for the water aspect, and now we're going to add bitters. Traditionally, you could use Peychaud's or Angostura. Traditionally, you would use Peychaud's, but we have Angostura. But we also have celery, grapefruit, and Thai basil. So I would, just go so far as to say you can use whatever kind of bitters you want. Go crazy. Do you have those fancy Creole bitters? Use them. You got those fancy burlesque bitters? I would like some. Use them. Basically anything other than chocolate is going to taste pretty delicious. So I highly recommend. I like to double down on the thing I hate the most, so I'm going to use grapefruit. You're going to do about 3 dashes of whatever bitters you choose. 2, 3. If you want to keep going, go for it, but I would say taste it first. Now you're going to swirl it a little more with the ice. If you lose a little, that just shows how decadent you're being. All locked up in home like some sort of Grey Gardens, but with good cocktails. And hopefully the same amount of caftans. Now for the piece de resistance. Please make sure that you are paying attention when you do this. You're going to cut some of the rind off of your grapefruit. Pretty big piece. I mean, we're not talking the whole grapefruit, but pretty big portion. Because that is also an essential element of an old-fashioned. Not technically, but traditionally, a big piece of fruit rind, usually orange, is what you want as a garnish. Now we're going to scorch this a little bit. So use your lighter, hopefully not a match, but any sort of lighter will do. Get that flame going. You're going to hold your rind just like this to pinch, and you're going to lightly pinch it in front of the flame, and it'll look like this. And when you're doing it at home, everyone will ooh and ah, and if you're by yourself, you can ooh and ah, all by yourself. Ooh, ah. Now once you've done all of the fireworks aspect, you're gonna just run the flame a little more over the rind, just to make sure it's sufficiently toasty. Rub it along the inside of your glass. Give your drink a little stir, and ta-da, you've done it. You've made the drink that shall not be named. Cheers! Oh, you want me to drink this? I do this for you. Honestly, it's pretty good. I still hate grapefruit though. Bottoms up! If you liked what you saw today, or it just makes you extremely angry, please like and subscribe right there. Right there. Right there. Thanks.